Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrim feet, whose turning passion stress a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, God mend thine every flaw. Confirm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty in law.
We hold this moment in its perfection, Colorado weather and all. The present embraces the past and future, hugs unimaginable possibility and uncertainty with tenacity and grace. And for a time, we sigh in relief. We made it. A year later than expected, we made it together, and we breathe in the wonderment. All is well, and joy moves through us as we celebrate years cultivating mind and heart, confidence and resilience, fortitude and commitment having come to fruition as we honor the gift of the last 5 years, which class of 2020 in this beautiful, painful, unjust, yet hopeful world you have navigated with courage and integrity, resilience, and incredible adaptability. And so we pause now and give thanks to and with all that we hold as sacred for bringing us here. All is well, so be it. Amen.
Please be seated. Good morning. I'm Robert Moore, and I have the honor of serving as Colorado College's acting co-president alongside Mike Edmonds. On behalf of our dedicated faculty, staff, and trustees, I welcome each of you to the commencement ceremony for the class of 2020. I want to begin by honoring the land we stand on, which is home to the Ute First Peoples of Colorado. We sit and stand at the base of Pikes Peak, which the Ute named Tava, or Sun Mountain, As we gather to celebrate today, we honor First Peoples here and everywhere. Class of 2020, you did it, you came back. We haven't seen you since you left for spring break almost 15 months ago, and now you are here together in a community you created by returning to your college graduation. I want to acknowledge that the past year was a very hard year for each of you, filled with many challenges. There was the undeniable loss you experienced by not being in person for the final 2 blocks of your senior year, and by not having the opportunity to say goodbye to your friends and faculty who helped shape your college years. I also want to acknowledge all that you have accomplished. You came to Colorado College and expanded your minds through a dynamic liberal arts curriculum. You brought meaning to your studies through co-curricular engagements, leadership positions, athletic endeavors, and internships. You created deep and lasting relationships with your professors, mentors, and peers who became lifelong friends. So today, we celebrate your entire CC experience, the years you spent living and learning as a part of this community. Class of 2020, welcome to the 146th commencement at Colorado College. Welcome to your commencement. Welcome to your family and friends who have come from all over to commemorate and celebrate this important milestone in the lives of each of you. These graduates would not be here, families, were it not for your ongoing commitment and support. We thank you. Welcome and congratulations to our commencement speaker, Dr. Richard Laurier, and our honorary degree recipients. Welcome to our Board of Trustees, to our faculty and staff who've joined us to honor these graduates. Members of the class of 2020, do you remember the phrase you selected as your class motto? Hindsight is 2020. I couldn't agree more, and I appreciate your sense of humor, which shows in the selection of your class motto. Yes, hindsight is 2020. It's easy to look back and imagine the things we might have done differently if given the chance, if we knew then what we know now. But as much as we look back, we must also look forward. I encourage you to continue learning from your past and from others so that together we can create a stronger shared future. Congratulations and welcome back, class of 2020. Now I'm pleased to invite Acting Co-President Mike Edmonds to the podium to introduce our commencement speaker.
It is my pleasure to introduce today's commencement speaker, Dr. Richard W. Laurier. Dr. Laurier is the former president and CEO of the Field Museum in Chicago. Before joining the Field, he was the president of the University of Oregon, executive vice chancellor and provost at the University of Kansas, and dean of the College of Liberal Arts at the University of Texas, Austin. Richard earned his bachelor's degree in history of religions and his doctorate in Sanskrit from the University of Pennsylvania. An internationally acclaimed scholar, he reads 8 languages and has conducted research all over the world. Richard is a deep advocate of following one's interests, pursuing what he refers to as intellectual entrepreneurship, and the ideal of focusing one's education on discovery and following your passion, and is certainly the case in his own career. In spite of all of these accomplishments, an accomplishment that he is most proud is that he and his wife Janice, who is in the audience today, this week will celebrate 50 years of marriage. Talented, gifted, kind, and compassionate, a drum major for the liberal arts, and a true Renaissance man. Please welcome Richard Law Revere.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted and grateful to be here. Thank you, Presidents Edmonds and Moore, for inviting me. I'm delighted to see your former president, Jill Tiefenthaler, here. And I want to thank the trustees, the faculty, and the staff for making this the remarkable institution that it is. But most of all, congratulations, class of 2020. So here we are, back in beautiful Colorado Springs, wearing remarkably silly hats and trying to figure out what in the world just happened to us. This has been an amazing year. Our worlds were literally turned upside down. None of us, no one in this world could have imagined what was visiting us. This terrible virus has shown us a world that we could not have imagined when you came here as freshmen. Who could have envisioned entire cities shut down, empty streets, closed businesses, a world hunkered in fear of an invisible scourge? You were sent home at the end of your education to protect you. Denied your commencement ceremony, this time-honored ritual marking you as a member of the world's best educated. Because you are among the tiny fragment of the world's population that has completed the rigors of study at one of the world's elite colleges. Congratulations. As long as you live, no one will ever be able to take this distinction from you. For someone of my vintage, your situation is more than a little familiar. The class of 2020 is not the first college class to be sent home without a proper commencement ceremony. Students who graduated in 1970, 50 years ago, from many of America's colleges were also sent home without a graduation ceremony. It might be interesting to look at some of the parallels to that time long ago. America was in turmoil then too. There were social and political stresses threatening the very fabric of the Republic. The continuing reverberations of the murders of Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy left America on tenterhooks. The clash between the conservative element of society and the progressive seemed destined to tear the country apart. Black Americans were frustrated by systemic economic and political constraints. Native Americans were finding ways to give voice to their centuries of struggle. And the country was led by a president whom we now know lied to the American public consistently. A president who had promised to end war, but who made it even more terrible. A president whose leadership was so divisive, so corrupt and dishonest that when he left office, the nation, even his fellow party members, breathed a collective sigh of relief. Sound familiar? If it does, you might think I've led you to a grim view of your future. 50 years later, and we have just bid farewell to another dishonest president and are still embroiled in an ever longer war. Social unrest, racial inequity, violence, etc., etc. What a terrible world. But no. Colorado College and the work you have done here, have given you the tools that will enable you to make choices that can literally save you from the grimness of this world. You have the tools to discover remedies and solutions, and progress will be the mark of your generation. Just look at a couple of facts. That class of 1970, 50 some odd years ago, when that class of 1970 was born, Penicillin was a hot new drug, and polio vaccine was still half a dozen years away. Most hospitals in America spent more on clean linen than it did on medical technologies. Barely half of households in America had telephones, and barely half of the population had high school diplomas. Today, everybody's got a telephone, and 90% of our population have high school diplomas. Homosexuality was a crime in 48 states, and the only person in the world who could make a phone call on his watch was a comic book character named Dick Tracy. Most of us here today have been vaccinated against this pandemic coronavirus. It took the scientific community just 18 months to produce this vaccine. In my youth, the great scourge was the polio epidemic. We couldn't swim in public pools. We weren't supposed to drink from water fountains. We lived in terror and fear of the paralysis and death of polio. It took 30 years to develop a vaccine against polio. Now, we're not out of the woods in this current pandemic, to be sure. There are still hard days ahead, but I'm confident in the world's, in your scientific capacities. At the moment, we seem to be caught up in a world in which anger and frustration and indignation are the currency of our daily discourse. Thanks to the ubiquity of social media, we are subjected to screaming matches in Walmarts over who is wearing or not wearing a mask. Our televisions deliver us shouting sessions instead of conversations. The political arena seems calculated to raise our blood pressure rather than our consciousness. Powerful forces in our worlds, the Facebooks, TikToks, YouTubes, etc., are trying to extract emotional energy in the form of rage and fury in order to distract us from investing in solutions and remedies to problems. We aren't the very first to feel this temptation to rage instead of work. One of the clearest and most powerful discussions of wasteful outrage is found already in the 2nd century writings of Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was one of the great Roman emperors. His 20 years of leadership saw peace and prosperity in the empire. He was also a man of enormous insight and reflection. He left us the only surviving love letters from antiquity, homoerotic letters to his tutor, as well as some of the most important philosophical writings on Stoic philosophy. His Meditations was written while he was emperor. These pieces were written for himself, for his own guidance and his own self-improvement. And I quote here a passage newly translated by Robin Waterfield on just the sort of daily annoyance that I spoke of earlier. Marcus Aurelius said, "Whenever a person's lack of shame offends you, you should immediately ask yourself, so is it possible for there to be no shameless people in the world? It isn't. And you should therefore stop demanding the impossible. He's just one of those shameless people who must necessarily exist in the world. And you should keep the same thought readily available for when you're faced with devious and untrustworthy people and people who are flawed in any way. As soon as you remind yourself that it's impossible for such people not to exist," he says, "you'll be kinder to each and every one of them. It's also helpful immediately to consider what virtue nature has granted us human beings to deal with any given offense. Gentleness, for instance, to encounter discourteous people." Marcus Aurelius was using his education to cope with the inevitable annoyances and disappointments of life. He recognized the disjunction between the world as we might wish it and the world as it is. He recommended a path that would provide himself with a chance to find a way forward with the least waste of emotional energy. In other words, not raging against reality, but dealing with it. Controlling our emotional response to unpleasant reality does not mean that we just roll over and accept reality. It means that we harness our emotional responses to focus on solutions and remedies. This is very hard, and it is a choice. Our instinct is to give in to anger and rage. Controlling that requires intimate knowledge of one's own self. Choosing to stay resolutely focused on what we can do to help, to improve, to give comfort, to be empathetic, requires that we first understand our own feelings and reactions. When the president lies, when the policeman fails, when the bullying, harried driver cuts us off in traffic, we should choose how to respond rather than to give in to instinctive anger. In every instance, choosing our response requires knowing ourselves and deliberately choosing how to respond. Now, knowing ourselves is the result of all of our accumulated knowledge. This is one of those facts repeated in many traditions over many centuries. The Greeks, Socrates and Plato, the Indians in the Upanishads, Emerson, Ben Franklin, Coleridge, even Bruce Lee, all tell us that all knowledge leads to self-knowledge. And you, each and every one of you in the class of 2020, have been blessed with an education at Colorado College that has endowed you with knowledge, to be sure, but most importantly with the skills to acquire more knowledge. You have been taught how to learn. And during your time here, you learned more about yourselves than any other topic. And thank heaven, because boy, do we need you. It's now your turn. We have handed you a right mess of a world, but also a world filled with wonder and beauty and challenge. Sure, climate crisis, pandemic, tenacious racism and tribalism, but also opportunity and a desire to make it better. And that is what the world will find in you. Your generation is going to make gigantic strides toward solving the great challenges of this world. How can I be so confident to say this? Because I have not only confidence in the talents you bring to the challenges, but in the training and education you have worked so hard to acquire. Progress will be the hallmark of your future. You are going to see the same kind of astonishing change that my generation has seen. You are the most encouraging thing about our collective future. You are the reason for optimism. You who have already in your brief time after graduation shown such resilience and such resolve to move forward into a world that holds for you a lot of uncertainty. You have been given tools that you have learned to use in the blocks of study at Colorado College. And you now get to use those tools daily in your pursuit of career and meaning in your lives. What wonder lies in front of you. Do not be distracted from your roles in the world. Do not waste your energies on anger and indignation. Stay focused on what you can do to make this bruised world whole and verdant and fair. We're counting on you. You have been given gifts and now must use those gifts to make our world better. The challenges are as great as they have ever been. No one has ever had to deal with a world that has 9 billion people in it, but you will. And you will do so with empathy and calm and focused reason. That is what Colorado College has given you, and it is what will be necessary for you to provide the rest of us with solutions and remedies. Congratulations again, class of 2020. You are our future, and our future is bright because of you. Thank you.
Dr. LaRiviere started as a history major, history of religion, that led to a doctorate in Sanskrit, an ancient text of India. Until recently, he was the president and CEO of the Field Museum of Chicago, a renowned museum of natural history. Under his leadership, scientific research flourished, and millions of pieces of work in the Fields Museum collection are available to young and old researchers. He sought new and current methods of engaging the younger generation, all the while building coalitions and partnerships among similar institutions. Mr. Co-Presidents, I present to you Dr. Richard LaRiviere for an honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
By action of a committee of faculty and the trustees, and by virtue of the authority vested in us, we confer upon you, Dr. Richard W. LaRiviere, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and ask that you be admitted to all rights and responsibilities pertaining to the degree. As a token of this honor, we ask that you be vested with the hood appropriate to the degree, and we present you with this diploma.
Last evening, we had the opportunity to confer honorary degrees upon 3 very special recipients. I'd like to read their names and ask you please to stand as we recognize you. We granted Defania E. Davis a Doctor of Laws, to Iko Otaki, a Doctor of Fine Arts, and to Denise S. Young, Doctor of Humane Letters. Congratulations to each of these, and thank you for honoring us with your presence.
At commencement, we not only celebrate our graduates, but we also celebrate the contributions of our faculty. Last year, 8 faculty members retired from the college and were granted emeritus status by the Board of Trustees in recognition of their dedicated service to the college. Congratulations and much gratitude to Victoria Levine, David Hendrickson, Jeff Noblet, David Mason, and James Eversole. If you're here, please stand. Colorado College awards the Masters of Arts in Teaching to graduates who are becoming elementary or secondary teachers in the licensure program, and those becoming literary specialists, providing therapy-level reading intervention for children with dyslexia. We also have graduates who completed the Experienced Teacher Program with concentrations in Southwest Studies and Liberal Arts. Colorado College is proud of its long-standing commitment to preparing teachers and providing advanced education for teachers and our community. And we are proud of these teacher scholars who will serve as leaders in the K-12 education system. To our graduating MAT students, on behalf of the college and its faculty, we offer congratulations and support for your important work.
Will the candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Teaching please stand? Mr. Co-Presidents, I have the honor of presenting the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Teaching.
By action of the faculty, the Board of Trustees concurring, and by virtue of the authority vested in us, we confer upon you the degree Master of Arts in Teaching and ask that you be admitted to all rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining to this degree. As a token of your accomplishments, we present your diploma and ask that you be vested with the hood appropriate for your degree.
Will the candidates please present themselves to receive their diplomas?
Consuelo Barton. Jennifer Burkhart. Danielle Colette. Mona Megumi Cosino.
Jamyoung Dorji.
Teresa Parsons. Kendall Perez.
Jill Pratt.
Olivia Stenholm. Shannon Michelle Summers. Mary Anna Zier.
Those who are to receive the degree Master of Arts in Teaching in Absentia are listed in the commencement program. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts please stand?
Woo! Stand! Woo! Woo!
Mr. Co-Presidents, I have the honor to present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts. Those who are to receive the degree Bachelor of Arts in Absentia will have a slide appear on the screen, and they will also be listed in the commencement program.
By action of the faculty, the Board of Trustees concurring, and by virtue of the authority vested in us, we confer upon you the degree Bachelor of Arts and admit you to all rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining to this degree. As a token of your accomplishments, we present you with your diploma.
Will the candidates please present themselves to receive their diplomas?
Ethan Greenberg, cum laude.
Caroline Alba. Eden Ishete Alamayo.
Madison Tate Alexander, magna cum laude. Daniel Mason Allen. Claire Haley Altieri, magna cum laude.
Joshua Alvarado.
Samantha Galia Aronson, magna cum laude.
Elias Asher. Israel K. Ashiagbor.
Isabel A. Aricchio, cum laude.
Andrew Edward Austin.
Jordan Averill.
Durganili Balasubramanian.
Alexandra Baroni Camp, magna cum laude.
Oscar Belkin Sessler. Samuel Birmingham. Carolyn Best. Kobe Kirk Bhattacharya. Taylor Nicole Bigany.
Joshua Berndorf, cum laude.
Jonkahey Black. Alexander Maxwell Blackburn. Emma Blair. Zoe Blandone. Madeline Louise Bodell.
Carly Baldwin Bonwell, magna cum laude.
Elam Harris Bookvar Klein, magna cum laude.
Megan Elizabeth Bott. Alicia Isabella Borelli.
Leonard Alexander Brasul, cum laude.
Finley Eustacio Bressler. Alexandra Brilliant. Noah Brodsky. Walter John Brosa.
Shane Raphael Brown.
Ellen Lund Buford, magna cum laude.
Wyon Iko Bushman, magna cum laude.
Antonio Jorge Calderon. William Francis Canestraro. Bo Karlborg. Owen Augustus Carlson. Michael John Caruth. Hugh Thomas Quinn Cashman. Emma Calhoun Sensky. Watsawan Chanchai.
Gio Chang.
Eliana Clayton.
Lily Klaus, cum laude.
Hayden Ferris Cogswell. Zachary Cohen. Brianna Elise Conwell.
Haley Reagan Corkery, cum laude. Lucia Elena Costanza, cum laude.
Elizabeth Diane Counts. Aaron Cronin.
Eric Dallasassy.
Laura Ray Davison.
Maya Patel Day, magna cum laude.
Rachel Deli. Charlotte Nell DeBiase.
Emily Dodds.
Evan Doherty. Xavier Dominguez.
Helen Jackson Donovan, cum laude.
Annabelle Aradana Driussi.
Sarah Holleran Dunbar, cum laude.
Mary Margaret Dunn. Nia Duplain. Galen Victorio Pascual Duran. Belle Catherine Durkin. Nabil Gais El Abdia.
Patrick Henry Ende, cum laude.
Brandon Tyler Ewart. Silas Farwell Mead. Daniel Fader Johnson. Emma Walsh Federley. David Fiegel.
Daryl Fillmore, magna cum laude.
Emily Elizabeth Fitzgerald. Lily Fitzpatrick.
Margot Flynn, cum laude. Noah Andrew Foreman, cum laude.
Richard Allen Fox.
Emmerich Joseph Louis Foyer.
James Conaway Franklin, cum laude. Kara Drew Friedman.
Crane Ian Friedman. Pietro Jacomin Sanu. Jillian Gibbs. Catherine Carly Gill. Grace Hoffer Gittell. Scott Gladstone. Elise Ann Glazer. Catherine Jane Gorab. Karina Grande.
Eliza Lee Granger, cum laude. Robin Louise Grathwell, magna cum laude.
Emerald Green.
James Francis Green. Alice Georgia Grelier. Ella B. Grossman.
Natalie Gabay, cum laude. Eliza F. Guion, magna cum laude. Anna Elaine Goralnik, cum laude.
Isabel Gutierrez Papacostas.
Joseph Stephen Gutstad.
Catherine Grace Hale, cum laude.
Benjamin Brody Hall. Austin Halpern. Johanna Hamblett. Grace Harmon. Haley Rose Harris. Margaret Rosetta Harrison.
Ella Sue Hartshorn, cum laude.
Andrew Harwood. William Otis Hazlett. Michael Heinonen. David Lambert Henderson. Thomas Hayes Henderson. Robin Xiaofeng Hilderman.
India Ella Hilty, magna cum laude. Molly Ann Hinneker, cum laude.
Noah Hirschhorn. Alexa Shannon Hoffman. Evan Scott Spencer Holland. Magdalena Horowitz. Liza Hushel. Caroline James.
Catherine Johnson.
Eric R. Jonas. Charity Portia Jones. Oliver William Stoff Jones. Colburn Bertram Josephchak. Alma Yukich. Selma Yukich.
Michaela Laurel Kahn, cum laude.
Wilson Kaplan. Sarah Katsev. Bita Kavusi.
Lucille Bauschel Kellerman, cum laude.
Jessica Keniston.
Caleb Kimball, cum laude.
Kristen Penoyer Kinchla. Benjamin Kirchman. Anita Kleeser. Sonia Rose Klein.
John William Kerner, magna cum laude.
Hiromi Catherine Kondo. Harper Elizabeth Kroll. Emily Cressley. Max Kronstadt. Amy Lynn Ladd. Melissa LaFair. Alden Landry. Rebecca Latham. Caitlin Emily Lawrence.
Daniel Lawrence, magna cum laude.
Samuel David LeBlanc. Sophia Jo LeBeau. Cooper Lee. Brian Kavanaugh Leach. Peter Lemon.
Jeremy Lemenager.
Cody Leong. Spencer A. Levy. Caroline Lee. Aidan Longhurst. Paul Longnecker.
Julian Alfonso Lopez.
Tommy Lutz.
Sarah Ann Lyons. Cameron Alec MacDonald. Matthew D. Maciag. Nicholas Keith Madsen. Adam Mahler.
Charlotte Faith Eyre Majersic, cum laude.
Rosa Mayorson.
Mary Kathleen Maloney.
Melanie Gray Mandel, cum laude.
David Caden Mangalik. Tenzing Bryce Manget. Ida Mong. Sam Magnus Mayer. Catherine B. McDonald. Jenna Nicole McDonald.
Gabriel McGill, cum laude.
Kian McGillicuddy. Lucy Doyle McMath. Mary Preston McNeely. Jocelyn N. Madrano. Jordan Meltzer.
Maitreyi Arun Menon, cum laude. Owen Miller.
Keller Whitford Mokel. Conrad James Lloyd Munson. Taman Montanero. Christopher M. Moore. Julia Grace Moore. Wyatt Morrison. Julian Henry Moulton. Dan Mulco. Jordan Mullen. Benjamin Murphy.
George Ronald Nahas, cum laude. Henos S. Nagash, cum laude.
Audrey K. Nelson.
Monica Helen Nelson.
Wyatt Newhall. V. Kelly Wen. Takudzwa Nira. Jacqueline Inconjera. Olivia Noonan. Jackson Mark O'Donnell. Taylor Catherine O'Donnell. Madeline Grace Olson. Thomas Jack Orey. William Osier.
Emma Elizabeth Zoe Paradiso, cum laude.
June Hyuk Park. Martin Guston Parks. Hannah Grace Peak. Marissa Pena Alfaro.
Susanna Maubrey Penfield, cum laude.
Elizabeth Perry. Alex Perutz. Jacob Dakota Pateau. Maximilian Pill. Gabriel Luke Pales. Sarah Nicole Pokelwald. Rachel K. Powers. Paul Price. Madison Sage Prince Judd.
Tiani Chin, cum laude.
Ansley Queen.
Joshua D. Reisner, cum laude.
Jessica Ramos. Alexander Rayhurst. Maxwell Travis Reeser. Kurt Ringwald.
Urja Rizal, cum laude.
Rowan Rockefeller, cum laude.
John Thomas Roddy. Anthony Xavier Rodriguez Ruiz. Jake Joseph Romanoli. Oliver Round.
Ellie Hannah Rubenstein, cum laude. Hannah Taylor Runyon, cum laude.
Ian Kukila I. Kila Ehu Chikara Sanborn.
Samantha Renette Sanson, cum laude.
Edgar Israel Santos Vega.
Maximilian Isaac Starkowski, cum laude.
Charles Schneider. Jordan Kent Schragi. Haley L. Schramm. Benjamin Schwaber. Ian Schilling. Benjamin Seitz Shetek.
Willa Ann Serling, cum laude.
Jesse Rose Shake. Alexandra Shapiro. Julia Shepard. Rachel Ann Sheridan. Paige Sharada Shetty. Noah Jalaluddin Siddiqui.
Cole Henry Simon, cum laude.
Annabelle Blue Samotis. Benjamin Elias Singer.
Madeline Meyer Smith, cum laude.
Ross Rue Smith. Marta E. Sola Pfeffer. Marguerite Spaethling. Sean Stem. Madison Sternitsky. Madeline Wolf Stesney. Garrett Stokes. Hannah Stoll.
Thomas Neff Striegel.
Benjamin R. Suddeth. Henry Haskell Swain.
Abbas Ali Said.
Hallie Logan Taylor Shaw, cum laude.
Natalie May Tissell. Austin Thies. Virginia Tom. Derica Jonaby Thomas. Elijah Thornburg. Claire Tobin.
Alexandra Celia Troy, cum laude.
Kiana Cho. Shan Sang Tu.
Mitchell Turner.
Lily Uchida. Mitchell Alexander Ukropina. Evan Alexa Underbrink. Maximiliano Vasquez.
Riley Wadera, magna cum laude.
Daniel Manning Walsh. Adrian Ward. Lily Anna Weisgold.
Rachel Madison Wells.
Remy Michelle Wells. Teresa Westfall. Fiona Whalen. Hallie White. Madison Lily Wilkinson. Abigail Brooks Williams. Caroline Subrin Williams. Elizabeth Jo Williams.
Nicole Ann Walk, summa cum laude.
Benedict C. Wright. Michael Robert Wright.
Ziqiao Wu. Zhuang Xu. Oren Carrere Fox. Prakhar Gautam. Ross Jordan Goldberg. John Thomas Healy.
I invite Ethan Greenberg to the stage to lead the tassel ceremony.
Colorado College Fair, we sing our praise to you, eternal as the Rockies that form our western view. Your loyal sons and daughters will always grateful be. The college dear to all our hearts is RCC. Colorado College Fair, long may your fame be known. May fortune smile upon you, and honor be your own. Your alma mater always, your loyal children we. Together let us face the future.
So hear these words in your leaving. So hear these words at the end of your graduation ceremony. May you have peace of heart, clarity of vision, and trust of self, knowing you are ready for whatever adventures continue to unfold in your lives. You have been prepared well. You are class of 2020 CC Tigers after all. So let us go now with blessing and may you let your lives speak. Amen.